Welcome back to the Recast and Reloaded show. On this episode, we have Chase Adair, who talks about himself and how he got started in the outdoors, preparing for a do-it-yourself Alaska caribou hunt and the regulations and logistics behind it. And then we get Conner Iselt, who gives us his input on filling the freezer versus trophy hunting, and then the overall importance of conservation and sharing your outdoor experiences.
Are you
Checking. Oh yeah, we're working. We're on. That's big time. The hardest part about a good podcast that I've found is how to start it. And so every time I've done a podcast, I just usually start recording when people don't know, because like truly the best conversations happen naturally, right?
Yeah.
I can hear that gum smacking away.
Dude, did you hear what happened to...
Use this flower petal.
Did Chase tell you about the gun he ordered?
No. Wait, yeah, you did.
Yeah, what? So I ordered the Glock 20, and I got it through work. I placed the order last week, and I heard back today. They said it's going to be 120 days before I get it.
Jeez.
You know what 120 days from today is?
Like August 4th?
August 7th. We fly out the 8th.
No way.
Yeah. So
it's either gonna.
I'm kind of stressing about that.
So I don't know this, and I imagine Chase, you being the person you are, you did a lot of research into this.
Yeah.
How do you fly with a pistol?
So I think you treat it like a checked bag. You obviously have to say that you're flying with a gun. Yeah. I was kind of relying on Troy for all that because I've never flown with a gun before.
I'm pretty sure the rules are, and don't quote me on this, but I think it's just you have to have it in your check bag, and like the ammo and the gun have to be separated somehow, some way. And
I think it has to be locked up too.
Yeah, it might have to be in like a locked case, and yeah, it's pretty much.
All right, this is worth a Google. I'm Googling it right now.
Yeah, somebody Google that.
Firearms and ammunition travel information, American Airlines.
Is that what we're flying?
Well, we're starting in American Airlines out of DFW, right?
And then Alaska Airlines, I think, takes us the final way.
Yeah. DFW, Seattle, Alaska to Fairbanks. That's a whole lot of information to read. All right, so here we go.
Spark Notes.
Requirements. Spark Notes. Within the U.S., you can only travel with firearms and ammunition, including pellet and BB guns, in your checked bags, if you're over 18 years old. You must check them with an agent and check in and declare that you're traveling with firearms and ammunition. Firearms must be unloaded in a locked, hard-sided container where the firearm is totally inaccessible. Cable locks can't be used.
Rifle. So you have a master lock on it or what?
Or like those scroll locks that are built into the case is probably what.
Ammunition must be in the original packaging from the manufacturer or in packaging specifically designed to carry small amounts of ammunition made of fiber, wood, or metal, with a maximum of 11 pounds per container or customer. Ammunition is not accepted loose or in magazines or clips. So you want to if you're getting it delivered on the 7th, just keep it in the box, you know.
Well, 120 days, it's at 120 plus days. So I reached back out and I asked, is there any chance that it comes in earlier? And she said, I can't guarantee it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be pretty upset if I buy that gun and it gets here like the day after we leave.
Well, I mean, how much, like, is it a pretty substantial savings that you got out of it?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So Chase Adair here is talking about the pistol purchase. He has probably one of the worst jobs you can imagine. That consists of working for Yeti Coolers, and I guess with the employee agreement, you just go ahead and get handed all the discounts in the world for any just sought after outdoor company. Does that kind of sound like what it is? Yeah, right there in the employee agreement is like, here you go. Here's all the.
Yeah, so I guess the way it works is we have agreements with other companies. So, like, we give them a discount, they give us a discount.
A little tit for tat kind of ordeal.
Well, I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
For an eye, tooth for.
But that's kind of made this whole Alaska, because this is obviously my first hunt, so this has made it
First big hunt.
first big hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I mean, I've been
out of
hunting all my
Texas.
life, but first big game hunt, I guess. So that's kind of made this whole ordeal a lot better because I can.
Affordable.
Yeah.
But and like so me, Connor, Dawson, and Ken and Nick we went to Colorado in September, and that was my first big hunt. Obviously, it's a little intimidating at first because you think about being in an area that you're just by yourself, and you want to make sure you have all of the right equipment. With that comes a pretty pricey price tag whenever it's all said and done. But like it is, so like this trip for Alaska, I mean, the only thing I'm going to kind of upgrade on is boots. So like everything you're buying right now, like we talked about, is hopefully a one-stop shop for some of the big game Western hunts you want to do. And so it's an investment, but it's like anything, is you're going to spend some money and you're going to really kind of get what you buy, and hopefully it lasts a long time.
Well, that's been my struggle. Is like I have a hard time cheaping out on the gear that I buy because I would hate to get out there and
It's-
be like, oh, I wish I would have spent an extra $100 on this or that.
Yeah.
It's real easy to get the discount rain jacket whenever you're in your warm living room, cuddled up under a blanket.
Comfortable.
Whenever that rain jacket fails you in the middle of the bush and there's not a store within 8-9 hours of you, you would pay $4,000 for a good jacket.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell people whenever they're buying hunting gear. Is like, it's easy to say like, oh yeah, we can get these cheap pair of socks. It's like, wait till your feet are rubbing with blisters about 10
moist.
miles into a 150 mile trip.
Yeah, and like what's cool about this is, like anybody that's already listened to a couple episodes before, is Troy Stewart came on and talked about, it's the title of it's Troy Stewart Do It Yourself Caribou Hunt, and me and Dakota and Troy had that pod, and now like a year and a half later we're doing the same trip. And what's like exciting about it, and I always like this type of stuff, is like I texted one of the guys I know in Alaska, and this is some funny stuff. What did he say? So I sent him a pin on where we're at, which is going to be like kind of like Arctic Circle. I mean, we're up there north of Fairbanks. Yeah, North Slope Borough. And he says, I worked up there for 4 years. It's nothing but flat openness. That's the primary oil fields of Alaska. You're literally on your own as far as any help. Not many people have felt that before, and you learn really fast if the guys you're with can handle it. Ha ha. And so I thought, like, like Connor, whenever we were in Colorado, as we're getting ready to go down, I mean, we're like where we're at, we're amongst it, right? And that guy Scott walks up, and he's a part of the search and rescue team, and he was just making his rounds, and he starts telling us like stories of like last week we pulled 4 people out. Like one guy just got real scared at nighttime, and one guy had elevation sickness, one guy fell, broke his like shoulder. Then like this 4th guy, I don't know what he was doing, but he was walking around with a knocked arrow and fell, and then arrow through the leg.
God.
And he was like, yeah, I'll come back up when y'all are supposed to be coming out, and if not, like, kind of know what to expect. But it's like right before we're getting ready to go, he's telling us how like difficult this could be, and
The worst possible outcome.
yeah, and like that was one of the first like whenever I think back to that trip, I think of that moment, because it's like, all right, we're getting ready to do what we've kind of been like looking forward to, but like it kind of sets in where you're going to be in the position of, if you do get hurt, I mean, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
And like in Alaska, I mean,
The good thing about Alaska that I see, at least, is like, yeah, you can roll an ankle and possibly break a leg if you really tried hard. But for the most part, it's pretty flat. What's the scariest thing about Colorado that I just try not to think about whenever I'm in there is like a lot of the ground that we're walking on is unstable and really steep, especially in that unit we were in, where it's like the amount of weight that's on your back, one small little misstep, and you're rolling down the side of a hill crashing into trees and breaking your back and
Sharp rock.
yeah, sharp rocks stick through you. Like,
Yeah.
versus Alaska, it's like
You can twist an ankle, you can break your foot, you can possibly
Yeah.
break your leg in that just tundra country. But like in Colorado, if you fall, you can just fall for 1,000 feet.
I like that one like rock knife edge that we just had to see what it looked like up there. We were literally like free climbing.
So let me paint everybody a
That was
picture.
bad.
So this is like towards the later part of the evening of like probably like the second day, I think, and we're pretty like packed up, got probably like 30 pounds on our back, and just we're enjoying the scenery. Connor's doing his thing where it's like he's got to be at the front, moving quick. And I see Conner just like scaling the side of this. Like I can't call it a mountain, but you like kind of can.
It's a knife edge.
And it was just like a little knife edge. I go, Conner, like be careful where you're stepping, and like because he looks to his right, and like literally all this rock was just loose, sharp rock, and just one quick little slip, and he was gone. He was like, ha ha ha. He's like, I got my Garmin Outreach, we're good.
You gotta live life on the edge, man.
Did y'all buy the? Did y'all get the emergency evac stuff?
No,
Insurance?
so
No,
Didn't you say you were gonna get it?
I was going through the process of getting it, and then for some reason I just stopped and haven't gotten it yet because like it's a monthly thing, and you could use it anywhere. And then I think it like there's more specific.
well, I have the Garmin
InReach.
InReach, but I have the subscription for satellite communication and SOS evacs. And from what I've gathered about it is like if you hammer that button and like the local like Scott's crew comes up there and flies up there and hikes in and carries you out, that is paid for, at least in the state of Colorado. I imagine probably also in the state of Alaska, because I believe they have the same emergency evac tax on your license. That's paid for by you buying a license. Now, if like the Coast Guard or EMS or
Government funded.
government agencies get involved besides the like local guys, or if like the local guys drop you off at a ambulance to take you in from there, that is where the charges start to accumulate. My thought process is unless it's like super bad, it's just like, hey, give me back to my truck and I'll
Drive back.
I'll just hold this thing together until then,
What is our drive time from Fairbanks?
Dude, it's got to be a long time. That's a long freaking drive.
I mean,
I-
I think
it's-
it depends on how far north we go.
And that
and
road,
that's another thing I wanted to bring up, because like I know that like when Troy went, they had a spot in mind and they went to it. But like while they're driving is like that 40-mile herd is like right there on the side of the road, and it's like you could have stopped, but like I think that does kind of take a little bit out of the whole, not hunt, I mean kind of the hunt, where it's like, all right, we see some caribou, let's stop and just get out and
well, that's caribou hunting.
yeah. And that's kind of like what it seems like when you look at some of these videos on YouTube. There's a abundance of them, but I also feel like there's a reason that Alaska Parks and Wildlife, is that what you would call them? Like,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
I think that's what they're
Fishing
called.
game or something.
Yeah.
where
People get the gist.
yeah, where they're limiting tags to resident and non-resident, right? Is that what you found, Chase?
I think next year is when that picks up.
Goes into draw only, right?
I think it's draw only for non-residents, but for residents, it picks up in June of this year. I'd have to pull up that article, but I think I saw something. It's like residents can only take 10 caribou,
It's a lot.
which is a lot of caribou. I mean, I don't know if you're surviving off caribou, maybe
Well,
it's not that much.
the
but
thing that's interesting about Alaska is they have the, I believe it's called like the subsistence lifestyle tags or whatever, where you can like as a resident of Alaska, if you live way the heck out in the bush, not close to a gas station and stuff, like you have completely different license rules, like completely different seasons, bag limits, all of that. Like you can kill a lot of animals, and the reason they do it is because there's people that live in Alaska solely off of the land.
you
Yeah.
have a Walmart 20
Yeah.
minutes down the road.
I'm having to get a tag to go to HEB. It's like let me apply for a draw. Man, that's just a completely different life of living, and I envy it in 100 different ways. But also, it's like, all right, there's some things you enjoy here, like because we're in Austin right now as we speak, but like I think I've thought about it a couple times, just like, see you later, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do my thing and roof in Alaska.
I still think we should do the. I think Steve Ranello's got it. He bought that fish cabin up in Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For pretty cheap, and he just goes up there every year.
Yeah, the Southern Peninsula. That's a cool area of Alaska. The only thing I don't like about that area is like it's big time fishing. Like you can fish crazy up there. But really hunting, it's like bears, blacktails. And there's like a couple island with elk. It's really hard to get tags from what I've heard.
But even then you would get a residence
You'd
after
have to
like 5 years, or you have to live there for a certain amount of time?
I believe you have to live there for
permanently.
an X number of years, and then you could pull residency.
I think that's what they should do with buying property in Texas. You got to rent for 2 years, and then you can buy some property. I think one of the coolest things that, like, we haven't even been to Alaska yet, and like we're still 4 months out, and we're like that, just as excited as if it was tomorrow. But like whenever we're starting to plan all this, Luke Thompson starts thinking about like, okay, like he started kind of thinking about like, okay, let me start to put together some of the people I know and see if we can get some help out there. And it just so happens one of his pledge brothers was in Alaska, or lives in Alaska, and he's going to get us a car that we're going to be able to use.
It's a rig too.
And it's a rig. I mean, it's a Lexus, but it's not the Lexus you immediately think of.
It's an Alaskan Lexus. I'll tell you what, if that kid's listening, thank you for your kindness, but you might want to reconsider what exactly you're doing, because I've never been in a hunting whip and brought it back and it's been in good condition after I bring it back. I mean, I've blown U-joints. It's going to be at least one flat tire on this thing.
I'm sure his buddies know what they're getting into.
Yeah, it's...
But, like, to that point, though, is it's so cool how people that you meet and that you, like, know within kind of the outdoor realm, all you got to do is reach out and they're there to help. I mean, in any way possible. And even whenever your boy from Texas is coming to Alaska and it's like, hey, here's my car. I mean...
Yeah. I mean, it's a big help.
It was that or Enterprise or
U-Haul.
Or U-Haul. That's what Troy did last time.
Well, that's what Ken was like, why don't y'all just... This is kind of a ballsy move. He was like, just buy a truck and then sell it whenever you get back. And I was like, well, then I have to deal with, like, trying to sell this truck that I bought, and I'm buying a used car.
And you're out of
and
state.
Which, like, as soon as you drive off the lot, it depreciates by...
Well, no, he's
20%.
saying buy a used truck.
And try to flip it and just put it on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, just
as soon as you buy it.
Yeah, just buy it, use it for like a week that we need it, and then sell it as soon as we get back. But the thing is like, Ken can pull that kind of stuff off, because I've watched him basically drop a transmission in an AutoZone parking lot with just rented tools from AutoZone, and then replace the gears inside of the transmission, which... There's like one person in the world that can do that, and that's him. We're like us. I don't think we're not bringing a grease monkey with us. You know, none of us know how to work on old beat up Alaskan trucks.
I don't know, man. U2 works wonders.
Well, I'm sure that they got that. I'm sure Alaska's cars have to have that same problem with like the salt, where they get all rusted out and stuff, right?
I'd imagine. Well, I mean, also though,
It might not salt.
I was about to say, I think they just chain up or they just
Plow.
They plow, or they just realize today is probably not a good day to drive. I don't know.
Or they're from the north and they actually know how to drive.
I wonder if anybody from Alaska will hear this and be like, man, these are some stereotypical things to think about us living. Because I'll be honest, is like whenever we're talking about like getting to Fairbanks and buying some groceries, like my first and this is kind of presumptuous of me, and I was a little stereotypical. Is like, do they have grocery stores?
Yeah, they do. They're expensive, apparently.
So when I went up there, the Alaska trip that I was expecting is not at all.
Yeah,
what I
you've been
thought
to
it was gonna be.
Alaska.
Yeah,
You're
I've
the
been to
only
Alaska.
you're the only one of us three right here talking.
Yeah,
I've
we
been
went
Alaska.
to Homer, Soldotna, Anchorage, and yeah, I mean it's a different lifestyle up there. But yeah, I mean gas is like $6 or $7 a gallon. Groceries are double what they are here.
I think we're drastically underestimating the amount of money we're going to spend on gas.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
I'm worried about running out of gas.
No, I think that the gas stations, at least from what I've heard, are along that, because that highway is a big trucking highway. That's like the highway that Ice Road Truckers is filmed on, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so. The Dalton Highway, right?
Yeah, and I think that highway is strategically
Dalton Highway
designed so that you can fill up here and make it there. But that's why, like, the one thing that I want to do really bad is go into Fairbanks, or not Fairbanks, Perudo Bay. Inevitably,
way up north. Like,
Doors.
we're going to have to go to Perudo Bay probably to get gas, I'd imagine.
Got to go further north to get gas, come back down.
Then once we get there, like if we're filling up with gas and we're 20 miles away from the beach, let's just drive to the beach.
Take a piss in the Arctic.
Yeah, take a piss in the Arctic. How many, like, when's the next time you're going to be able to go pee in the Arctic?
Prudhoe Bay. It is Prudhoe
You know,
Bay.
you might as well.
I mean, yeah, it's like knocked that off the bucket list.
If we're that close to the Arctic and the Arctic Ocean, we're going to have to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Is that-
already there, you know?
Is that water that we're gonna kind of? I guess we're not gonna be.
We're not crossing that river.
We're not.
I don't, unless we
is
take
that
pack,
brackish?
unless we take pack rafts. Probably not that far in.
Didn't Troy and them cross it last year?
Yeah, but they brought pack rafts, and pack rafts are heavy.
I think he said that he wouldn't recommend. That was the kind of the first thing I said earlier, where it was like they had an idea in mind, they just did it, and they did cross the river. And then I think it was like day 2 where they just like came back to where they saw caribou while driving.
So they just took a raft trip for
funsies.
Yeah, 'cause
for giggles.
if we take pack rafts, then we need to take like mountaineering rope with us as well, and that's heavy.
Dude, I got my paracord. We're good.
No, you need better than paracord because you have to set up like the best way to cross a river with those pack rafts and stuff is you get somebody to freaking go across with a rope and then set up a line on an angle so you can just hook the pack raft with a carabiner to the line, and just you don't even have to paddle it. It just the current moves it across the river,
Yeah.
and then you move the line back down and it moves it back across, move the line back up and it moves it back across, so you can shuttle all your backpacks and everything across the river real nice and easy. Like, and the first and the last people have to paddle and figure it out.
Connor, I got a question for you.
What's up?
You are the only person I know that seems like they know everything about hunting and any trip it is. And I'm not dogging on you or anything. I'm very like impressed. How do you learn all this stuff without even going on the trips?
I don't know. I'm just kind of like remember things I watch. I knew that from Remy Warren and Steve Ranella hunting in New Zealand. And Steve shot that, I don't know, one of them freaking weird goat looking things up there. We shot it across a glacier river that was ripping. And Remy set up that same system I'm talking
I've
about
seen that one.
to shuttle the animal across.
What are your 3 like kind of methods of learning about like trips, hunting in general, fishing?
I don't know. You just watch as much stuff as you can, and then just remember everything. It's pretty hard, but you just watch and immerse yourself in it is what I do. Like, all I do is whenever I get into something, it's all I can think about.
I was about to say that. One thing I've learned about Conner, living with him for
4 years?
something like that. Is that when
Don't say it like that.
I think I was like 3.5. I mean, sophomore year, I was basically like a sixth roommate. But one thing I've learned about Conner is when he, like you said, when he gets hooked on something, he is fully, like, he dives head first. And like you said, that's all you can think about. So that's one thing I commend Conner on is
100%.
Is
Completely
yeah, he can
agree.
he may not have gone on the trip, but he's pretty well educated on it.
Yeah. Well, so Connor's been on the podcast before. People have heard about me. Chase Adair. What's your story, brother?
The Central Texas big buck killer.
So me, Chase, and Connor all lived together in college. We felt kind of bad for him sophomore year and invited him to live in our house. So we lived together for 3 years, and then Connor and Chase took a victory lap.
Victory semester.
Victory semester. So they lived together a little bit longer and learned something about each other that I didn't know. Don't know what that is yet, but y'all look at each other a different way. But Chase Adair, what's your story when it comes to hunting, fishing, or just in general the person you are?
So I started hunting. I'm in a young age. We didn't ever have any family land growing up. We always bounced from lease to lease. So I've always kind of prided myself on not trophy hunting, but just filling the freezer. And I think my dad kind of taught me that, because he had only shot a handful of deer growing up, but it was more about filling the freezer, not trophy hunting. And that's not to say if, a buck like I shot this year walks out, I'm not going to shoot him. But I'm not going to, like if I need some meat in the freezer, I'm going to fill it. And so that's kind of how I was raised.
Well, you've always seemed to be the type of hunter and the guy that, like, whenever they go hunting is like, that is the number one goal and mindset of going hunting is like, there's like, and I'm one of those people where I'm a trail game watcher or trail game cam watcher, and like, if I know a deer's around, like, I will hold off, and like, and I know that y'all monitor and look at what's on your property, but it's like, if that doe walks out kind of like pre-rut and like, that like she's ready to get shot, it's like you'll fill the freezer. Like
if she snorts, she's dead.
Well, Connor, I mean, freezer filler as well. But all right, so sorry to cut you off, but like, that's just one thing I've always seen about you.
No, I mean, there's two sides of the coin, and that one's not better than the other. It's just, it's what you prefer. Like, I've never had a problem with, if someone invites me out to their land, or, I've been hunting at my fiance's place for a couple of years now. And I have zero problem just taking, the coal buck that needs to be shot, or the doe, there's a doe issue in Gold Fight. So I have no issue taking a couple doe.
Where's gold plate at?
Gold plate?
Or what is it? Gold plate? Gold plate?
Gold
Weight.
Gold weight? Golly, don't know how to spell that one.
Gold plate? Buddha.
Yeah, I can never pronounce Buda right.
No,
I call
that's
it Buda.
It's Buda.
It is Buda?
People say Buddha.
Buddha.
New Braunfels. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
From New Braunfels.
It's just New Braunfels.
There's a lot of syllables.
Like, Fredericksburg's not actually Fredericksburg, it's Fredericksburg.
Oh, you're making that up.
Goldthwaite.
Goldthwaite is about 2 hours from here. 2 hours north from here. In between.
You go through going to Possum Kingdom from here, I'm pretty sure.
It's in between Lampasas and Brownwood.
Yeah. You go like right by it.
No.
You don't touch up there though. I mean,
That's like
over there.
3 hours from here.
Yeah.
No, going to Possum Kingdom.
Oh, you go through Goldthwaite to go to
Yeah.
PK.
That's what I was saying. Like,
yeah, but I've been hunting out there for probably 5 years, 6 years. I was kind of cleanup crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you had to work your way
I had
up.
to work at it.
I mean, that's an expected thing at a family-owned place for so long.
Yeah.
It's like, it's always a common denominator at our leases. Season's ending. Like, who can we get out here to shoot the 7 coals we need shot?
Yeah.
Yo. Speaking of that land that you got rocking out there, how much do they care about them real big, colorful chickens strutting around right around now?
Turkeys?
Yeah, it is.
They're the guinea hens.
The prairie chickens. There's a ton. I've sat in the stand.
Yeah, I'm
many
sure
times.
there's a lot of turkeys, but
And it's always like a gang of turkeys that roll up.
Yeah, but does like Kylie's grandma, is she like fixated to these turkeys?
No. Betty?
Is
Grandma
old,
Betty?
Does old Betty care if like...
All right, so it comes up there and...
I don't even want to shoot the turkey. You can shoot the turkey. All I want to do is call in the turkey. I just want to hit it with a little... maybe a little... and then... and then boom. I'll guide you on a turkey hunt.
I'll take you up on that.
Let's go turkey hunting.
Let's go turkey hunting.
I still have not shot a turkey.
I can get both of you shoot. I'm not toot my own horn or nothing, but every turkey my cousin Dawson's ever killed is because of your boy.
Well, I will.
Dawson, you hear that? Effectively, if you didn't have Conner, you would not shoot any turkey.
His job this year is to call me in a turkey because I called him in 3 last year, and his gun went click on one, and he shot a double on the other.
So he made up for it.
Yeah, he went. What was the statistic I came up with? He bats 200%, 50% of the time. So he bats 250% of the time because he shot a double with one shot. He shot 2 turkeys with 1 bullet, and then his other bullet just went click. So that's a miss.
That video is because you had that on video, right?
I have the click on video and I have the double on video. Now, am I saying that they're the best footage ever? No. They're not the best footage ever.
You get the idea, though.
You get the idea of what's going down.
So why? I feel like we like when you go on Instagram or like somebody that hunts is like if they do have a video of a call to kill or just like just a kill video of an animal, it always is a turkey. Like
turkeys are so. At least I would say pretty much every way you could hunt a turkey, actually, every fun way you could hunt a turkey, the springtime is pretty easy to film. Because, like, the turkey's going to be making noise. You're going to have time to get set up. And for the most part, you're going to have time to get set up. You kind of know almost exactly where the turkey's coming from. And you can kind of control the environment.
Yeah.
Versus a lot of other hunts, there's a lot of uncontrollables on what's happening.
It's like a whitetail.
Turkey, if you know what you're doing on turkey, it's a pretty controlled environment, especially with some of these ranches that we get on, like Kylie's grandma's place is going to be this way. Them turkeys ain't never been called before. Well, they are dumb.
And then you also get them like roosted up in a spot, and you show up where you kind of know their highway.
If you know the land real well, you can call them off. You can shot gobble them off the roost, and then you kind of know which directions they're going to be going. You can kind of ambush them. I hunt turkeys a lot of the same way. It's very vastly similar. It's going to be a controversial statement. I hunt turkeys almost exactly like I hunt elk. It's
then not good because you've never killed an elk.
Well, I called in how many this past?
Y'all want to know that question? You can buy my book Ode to Elk on Amazon.
I called in at least 3 elk.
You did. That was pretty insane.
Yeah,
and like that was.
It's only my second year calling elk. Called in 3 elks.
Those are some huge wins.
But haven't turkey and elk been compared to each other?
They have been compared, but a lot of hardcore elk hunters say that turkey hunting's nothing like elk hunting, which kinda and kinda not. One of the big differences is like you can't really get an elk to shock bugle. You can stand up on a hilltop and it's the easiest way.
Define shock bugle.
Well, like shock bugle, like turkeys, like if you slam a car door, turkey's gonna gobble.
Yeah.
Like you can make crow sounds, turkey will gobble. Make a hoot owl, turkey will gobble. You can clap your hands real hard, turkey will gobble. Jet breaks a sound barrier above you, turkey will gobble.
And so
they gobble on weird junk. Like the easiest way to find roosted turkeys historically is get up on a high spot where you have good hearing and make a hoot owl or a crow, and a turkey will gobble out of the roost. and then you kind of know which direction you need to go in the morning. And then right as the sun's coming up, normally they just gobble by themselves, but if they don't, hit them with a crow call, hoot owl, something, they gobble again. So you can kind of figure them out where the area that you need to be in is. Elk can't really do that. You just have to hope that they're bugling.
I've never hunted either one, but
Let's go turkey.
from what I understand, one word to describe them is elusive.
Elk?
Both.
Turkeys, I would say, aren't terribly elusive. Turkeys can be elusive if you're on like public land. But if you're hunting turkeys on like
pressure.
if you're hunting the turkeys on Kylie's grandma's place, I will guarantee you I can get probably at least one turkey a day inside of shooting range if there's as many turkeys as you said there is.
That's a tall order.
Well, let me talk to the boss lady and set this up.
Dude, it's a blast of a hunt. It's so fun. I love turkey hunting.
What do they call elk? Is it just a ghost?
Elk man,
I think that like when
they
like
suck.
when people talk about elk being a ghost, I think like a lot of it does have to do with the animal itself, but also the country it's in. But like for instance, I think it was like the fourth day whenever it was me, you, and Nick, and we were coming off the side of we were probably halfway down that mountain, and there's just like those kind of splits of valleys on the side that we're walking on. Connor's hitting some locator bugles, and we knew that there were some elk in the area. Those elk bonded and communicated, and we saw them, and then next thing you know is like they weren't taking off, but they were just walking away. But the country for us is like what takes an elk 30 seconds to go, 500 yards takes us 30 minutes. And so it's like we know where they're at, but they can just navigate their home a lot easier than we can.
I think this is probably one of the biggest differentials between, if you go back to the elk and turkey thing. Elk are masters at thermals. Wind going up the hills, and not only that, like whenever it hits finger ridges and stuff, it swirls, and it swirls so wide that you as a human sitting there with your little puffer, you can't really tell that it's swirling, but it's making big swirls, and it's blowing out that whole canyon with you sitting there.
Well, I got that video of our just like the puffer is like just the wind direction where I'm taking a video, and I'm blowing it, and it's going to my right, and then kind of uphill, and then the next puff, it's blowing downhill, like right into the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah,
and it switches just like that.
Turkeys, you don't really have to worry about that as much.
What's it? I know we like went from like Alaska to now.
Well, turkey season right now.
Yeah,
man.
You're right. Like
When's turkey season over?
I don't know, but I think we should.
Conner usually kills them first, just opening day, so he doesn't know when it's over.
No. Like I said, I'm normally the caller.
Well, what's a turkey's like scent capability?
Man, I've never been winded by a turkey.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I hardly pay attention to the wind. The only reason I'm blowing my puffer is to try to figure out how far if the sound's drifting.
Yeah.
From where I think he is.
Do you know what zone we're in?
Northern.
We're in the northern zone?
Yeah.
Of Texas?
Of the turkey zones, I'm pretty sure we're in the northern. We're shooting a bunch of Rios here.
March 30th to May 12th. So we got some time.
Yeah, it's honestly a little easier towards the end of the breeding cycle, I think. But like I said, man, like with the turkeys that you got on your place over there, I mean, they're, no offense to your turkeys, but they're freaking dumb, man. They're just, if there's that many turkeys, if you're saying whenever you're sitting in the deer stand, you're seeing a gang of them, like 20 turkeys.
Yeah, I see 20 turkeys run off.
Oh, Jesus.
All of the deer. Like as soon as they land from the trees, they're.
Yeah, we won't even
all
need
the
to get
deer
off the
run off.
freaking porch, dude.
Yeah.
I can kill a turkey from your porch. I just sit there low. here they come.
I don't know that anybody out there's hunted them in a decade. Yeah.
So that's like the place that we hunted last year, where I called in 6 turkeys in one day, one morning.
When you say turkey, what, like?
Called in 2 stud toms twice. I called him in. Dawson's gun went click. And Dan, the other guy we were hunting with, he had never seen a turkey coming in full strut, all puffed up, trying to get him some. And he didn't know what the heck to do with his hands. And I came up to both of them and I was like, dude, what in the world just happened, guys? Like, them 2 turkeys are 20 yards away. And then we got back on them turkeys. I got them to come back in real sketch-like. They were not into it, but they were kind of into it. They kind of poked their head back up. So now that's 4 turkeys. And then we went across the river. This land was freaking gorgeous. We go across the river to this other side where I've been hearing another turkey gobble, calling that one. And he got behind bushes and stuff, kind of figured us out and got up out of there. And then on the way out, we heard another turkey gobbling. So we run up on top of this ridge, cut him off inside of this valley. And then I called in that turkey to like 100 yards and he got hung up on I called that one in. I called him up out of the valley. He got hung up in a meadow and wouldn't cross the meadow.
Is this your place or your uncle's place?
That was Dan's place. Dan's place is crazy. I mean, there's that morning, I've never heard more turkeys gobbling in a valley than we showed up in that valley. And we had hunted the morning before. We had hunted in what he told us was a good turkey hunting spot. And we heard all the turkeys in this other valley. And we were like, man, we need to go to that valley. But it was already too late. So we hunted the valley that we were in, which even though we were on 4,000 acres, for some reason, all the turkeys are always on the other side of the fence. Always. And, yeah, so that's what happened that morning. But the next morning, we were in them. We were on the turkeys on our side of the fence that the neighbors couldn't get to because they were on the other side of the fence. We were finally the winners.
So would you?
But we didn't kill one.
Would you consider yourself like a turkey guy?
Man,
I'm going to prompt this with a question. That's why I'm asking.
I'm a whatever the season is, and turkey hunting is like the last. It's like the cherry on top of the hunting season. You know what I mean? Like, you went through the hunting season, you hunted. For me, it's hunting ducks, deer, pheasants, and then elk or caribou, my one big game hunt. And then you get this little bit of a break, and you're kind of like, man, I want to go hunting again. You know, I've been fishing a bunch, and you get to go on a little turkey hunt. That's a blast. You get to call in some animals. That's fun. And then the long summer sets in where you just get real bored and buy a bunch of hunting gear.
The question I have, though, is what is the turkey Grand Slam? What are the 4 types of turkey?
And it's the Rio Grande and Eastern, a Merriam.
This is always the hardest one because this is the one I always forget.
And Osceola.
Yeah, Conner's a turkey man.
And then the World Grand Slam is the one in South America.
Yeah, which is
that thing's not a turkey. It's a freaking peacock.
It's a peacock. So, Grand Slam.
Speaking of peacocks,
is all 4 U.S. subspecies: Eastern, Osceola, or Florida. Osceola are only in Florida. Rio Grande, and then Merriam, and then Royal Slam is the Grand Slam. It's the Goulds.
That's it.
Found in Mexico in limited areas of the Southwest. And the World Slam is the Royal plus the Ocellated Wild Turkey. Is that how you pronounce that?
Was that at Africa?
Found in Mexico and Central America.
I'm surprised Africa doesn't have a turkey.
What do these look like?
They're crazy looking. Speaking of peacocks, so I had this neighbor move out down the road from me, and they've had peacocks ever since I could remember.
I'll leave $4,000 to go shoot a ocellated.
They moved out of their house recently, and they left their peacock. Peacocks are on the same breeding cycle turkeys are on, and this thing, anytime you close a door or do anything at any point in time in the day, we're gonna call it gobbles. whatever peacock sound makes.
It sounds insane.
Yeah, I can't even mimic it, but it makes me really want to go kill this peacock every time, because now I know that the neighbors are gone and they left their peacock.
Well, you should try and adopt it.
Well, it lives in the tree. It doesn't even live in the tree that's on the people that owns it.
That's what it
Yeah,
sounds
that's
like.
a freaking peacock right there.
Yeah, it's like a.
Sounds like a dinosaur.
Yeah, you be getting the boat
Probably is.
in the garage at like 10 o'clock at night and you close a lid too hard, you're going to hear that.
So the place we're about to move to is like right behind Marty's Mexican food, and I guess it's like a peacock sanctuary. So there's like right behind us, there's gonna be peacocks living there.
Well, you're going to hear a lot of that.
Arya might get a hold of one.
Well,
No, dude, they're pretty, Woodrow, my dog's tried to catch that peacock a couple times, and
Pretty quick.
they fly real well.
yeah.
Real well. Like a lot better than you would think they could
That big
fly.
of a bird can
Yeah.
fly.
It's kind of like an oversized turkey or oversized pheasant.
I was pretty surprised with the type of bird a grouse was. Those things are resilient.
You can
I mean-
smoke a grouse with an arrow. Dang thing runs off, bro.
I mean,
Freaking crazy.
I'm like if we like got on just the bird conversation or grouse conversation is grouse. If you're gonna hunt grouse with a bow, you better shoot them like a turkey. I mean, right in the head.
Guillotine arrows, I think, is what
Well,
you
it's
need.
like the thing is like even if you drill one, is like they'll start to kind of like make their way like out of the tree that they're in, and then they'll just like open their wings and glide down and die in the air. But like the thing is they'll just start gliding down, and then next thing you know, they're 1,000 yards down a mountain.
Yeah, those grouse, they drove me nuts.
Another reason to buy my book. No, I'm kidding. You can't buy it if y'all want. If you're listening to this and you kind of want to look at the book that I put together.
Shameless plug.
It's called Ode to Elk. First kind of elk hunt. I decided to put together just a little rundown of everything that we did and some of the gear you need for a first time Colorado elk hunt.
Josh, are you ever going to go? I think you would enjoy a pheasant hunt.
So actually, the first hunt I ever did in my entire life was a pheasant hunt.
You been up to Kansas?
Utah.
Really?
He went on a baby pheasant hunt.
So I'd love for you to tell Mark Ballard that.
Probably caged birds.
So the first hunt I ever went on was a pheasant hunt and chucker hunt. And it was, I mean, I think it was like 11 or 12. And I just went up to my uncle living in Utah and working at Dugway Army Base. And, I mean, that's kind of where it all started. But, like, I obviously now would like to go at the age I am, because you went with Conner 2 years ago?
2 or 3 years ago. I think it was when we were living, I think it was in our victory lap. Semester, sorry.
If you liked that hunt, you would love the new place that we go, which we're not going to talk about where it is, but it's a pretty great place. It's way better than the old place.
So Conner has always gone pheasant hunting New Year's weekend or week?
No, it's between, so we leave the day after Christmas and we come back New Year's Day is the historic trip. And the reason we do that is because there's less hunting pressure. And we're really good at finding where the birds are whenever the weather's absolutely horrendous. Like if you can't feel your fingers or your toes or your nose, then we're killing birds. Like a lot of birds. Limiting it out.
It's one of the requirements that Conner speaks to a girl before he starts dating her is, by the way, we'll never be together on New Year's Day.
I mean, unless
she's a hunter.
Let them know early.
Probably not going to happen.
Classic.
I thoroughly enjoyed it when we went up there. It was, I mean, we killed a little bit of everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's some crazy
hard hunting. It's some crazy cool country. It's a lot of country that I feel like most of the world doesn't see and or appreciate. A lot of flyover states hold these birds. And
The Jason Aldean reference.
if you get if you get lucky, you get to meet some pretty cool farmers and get onto some private ground, which is what we got into this past year. And that's a lot better than hunting the straight up public stuff. But straight up public stuff still yields a lot of birds, and we've killed a ton of birds out of that too. But there's definitely a lot of tactics to pheasant hunting, like a lot of little nuances. They have a lot of patterns, kind of similar like to bass fishing. If you find the right structure, right feed type situation.
So I got a question. So Conner, how many states have you hunted or fished in? Chase, you're next, so think about it. He's counting on his fingers, or he's getting his calculator out.
Yeah, take out my shoes here in a second. I'd say probably like give or take a couple, 10.
10, okay. Chase?
4.
4?
I've only hunted in Texas, fished in obviously Texas, Alaska, Florida, Colorado. I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I could probably say.
Oh, no, Kansas. Sorry. Kansas.
Hunting.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yes, I've only hunted in probably really 2. I mean, Texas and Utah. And then fished, I could probably put close to 10. But the reason I asked the question is, so Conner, you've been around. Chase, you've been around not as much as Conner. Like, what would be y'all's kind of? I mean, everybody's got it, right? Is your dream or your dream fishing or hunting trip? Let's do both. Conner, what would be your kind of your bucket list number 1 hunt?
I mean, technically there's 4 that fall into the same hunt, but right now it'd probably be, I really want to kill a desert bighorn. And then on top of that, it's just like the sheep slam in general.
Yeah.
But that's 4 hunts.
You could say sheep hunt. I mean,
Yeah, well, the sheep slam in particular. The doll sheep's really kind of... Doll and stone kind of throw a wrench into what I really like to do, which is no guides. Whatever. Rules are rules.
fishing trip?
The sigh.
Man, I've heard peacock bass is pretty cool.
Y'all
But-
didn't get to do that when y'all went to the state championship?
No, so,
No,
so,
it's staying
so
far enough
pe-
south. But I'm
pe-
also talking peacock bass on like the Amazon
Yeah,
River.
the peacocks in Florida, like, I mean, if you get south, like, you can catch some pretty decent ones, but, like, in the Amazon, you're catching 20-pound, 25-pound peacock bass, and it's a completely different catch than a, golly, what's his name? Mike?
Big Mike or whatever his
Yeah,
name is, and
something
he's
like-
actually like 3 foot tall.
3 foot tall, and he just gets after it on the peacock bass. But, I would probably say fishing trip is either peacock bass or tarpon,
Yeah, I just...
which is going to fall in the Florida region.
I mean, the reason I don't say tarpon is I know a handful of fellas that have been on countless tarpon fishing trips, and they all come back with the same story. I got 4 jumps on this trip.
They just
Yeah.
the hookup ratio is disgusting.
The landing ratio.
Yeah, the landing ratio. That's what I meant.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, I'm up to 23 jumps. It's like one whole fight, man. You've been on 12 trips.
Chase, what about you?
Hunting trip, man.
Alaska Caribou.
Yeah, I mean, really, I'm looking forward to this Alaska trip because this is going to be something completely new. I mean,
Talk
you and
about
I,
a hell of a first, like out of state, just like big game hunt.
yeah, I'm just excited. I've always really enjoyed just like sitting there watching the animals.
Yeah,
So, I honestly, I could go home without shooting anything, and I think I would be stoked.
yeah.
I do
Yeah.
got to say this about Chase. Is one of the reasons I don't ask everybody to go on the pheasant hunting trips with us because sometimes they royally suck. As long as Chase sees a cool sunset somewhere along the trip, he's normally satisfied. Like you could drag him.
It's like you're getting a tip.
Yeah, you could drag him through the mud for 12 days, not see a single animal, soaking wet. And like, there's one cool sunset. Chase like, man, this is a great time. Yes, that's why I brought you, man.
I appreciate that. But I think that, like, I mean, you and I were talking about it the other day that, you know, we were talking about buying the 6-person tent for future trips. And I really think that this trip is going to kind of boost my love and appreciation for hunting. And I'm hoping that that's what it does. And I think it will. But that's kind of what I'm looking forward to is, like, I don't have a specific trip planned. I just hope that, like, every single year we can all get together and, you know, as soon as the caribou hunt's over with, we can be like, hey, what are we doing next? And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I haven't really thought about a specific hunting trip I want to go on. That's kind of just like what I'm hoping to get out of all this. And as far as fishing trip, I think I've done it, to be honest. King salmon up in the Gulf of Alaska.
Pretty wild.
And on the Key, and then pink salmon on the Kenai River.
That salmon you brought back was delicious.
Yeah, I would love to have a freezer full of that.
Snag some early caribou.
Go up there a couple days early. Yeah. But I think that's probably my favorite fishing trip I've been on, and I can't think of anything else. I don't know. I mean, maybe marlin, but like
do some stuff.
That was pretty freaking. I mean, we got to see, you know, orcas. We got to see whales. We got to see sea lions. I mean, it was.
And I also think there's a big difference in like certain fishing trips and certain hunting trips, because you can put them into like 2 separate categories of like commercialized or not. Yeah. And like whenever you talk about marlin, like, and like not to downplay marlin at all, is like that I've caught marlin, and it is an awesome, like, beautiful time to like be amongst that. But like,
you're paying for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're with a guide.
Yeah. And versus kind of what we're going to be able to go do is like one of my dream hunts has always been, and I share this with my aunt, is an Alaska caribou hunt. And like the fact that we're doing this is like a huge thing for me personally, because I've always, like, ever since I was younger, is like I want to go shoot a caribou. And the fact that we're going to be able to do this so early on in our lives is like, all right, what's next after that? But like, I think that the caribou hunt for me is just going to be with the people I'm with, and then just if I shoot one, awesome. Kind of same thing you said, is like just being where we're going to be at.
Yeah.
What's your dream fishing trip?
See, like I said, I've always thought peacock bass, tarpon. What's that parrotfish where it's just a, I mean, it's like
Golden Dorado?
Oh.
That'd be a sick one.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, and then like Jackson Hall and Troy did it last year, is bone fishing. A lot of people put that on their bucket list, but like in my opinion, like I just have always had a thing for tarpon, because I mean, like, it's just like that is a big fish that you talked about at Conner, where it's like, oh, I had 25 jumps, never caught one. It's like, if you can catch one, that's something to add to the resume.
Yeah, that's the same thing with permit. The same dudes I know that hunt tarpon hunt permit.
Permit?
Permit, yeah. Big silver thingies. And permit, you don't count jumps like you do with tarpon. Permit, you just count sightings. They're like, yeah, I saw a permit in the 14 days I was in the Caribbean. And it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah, that's wild. I think like what would probably fall into the category of like something I really want to do is something that a lot of people don't do. Like, yeah, and I think that just is like a human condition of like me personally, is like, what can I do that a lot of people don't? And once I do it, like, always establish the why, and like why you're doing it. It's not for the clout. It's not for the ego. It's not like, hey, I did this, look at me. It's like, hey, I did this. Like, how did you do it so I can go do it?
Right.
And like, that's kind of the whole thing about RCRL, Recasted Reloaded, is it wasn't to put together a platform where it's like, look at what I'm doing. It's like, look at what I'm doing. How do I do it? You know what? Like, reach out to us and we can help you do what you want to do based off of what you're seeing. Because like within this life we're in is there's a lot of opportunity out there that people don't capitalize on because they're intimidated by it. It seems like something that's like far-fetched. You're never going to be able to get to it. And like talking about bass fishing and tarpon fishing or Alaska caribou hunting it seems like a crazy thing to think about originally, but it really is obtainable if you just talk to the right people.
Yeah. I was looking through Instagram today, Recast Reloaded, and I think to your point, you do a great job of sharing those experiences. Like you said, it's not that hard, but I think some people are very intimidated to get started. And I mean, you have on your page, you have experiences from, I was looking at Colin Doskasil catching catfish, and then you have, you have Troy doing a DIY caribou hunt, and you know, so there's even just to get into it, you can start with,
there's completely different spectrums of hunting and fishing, but like in my opinion, it like a catfish can make somebody's life, or like a sand bass,
or a pheasant, like you were talking about, that kind of sparked your your interest,
like literally a pheasant and a chucker that Conner, you guessed it, they were out of a cage.
What about a lake record channel cat?
I'll tell you right now, if you've ever been in a bass fishing tournament,
is that Decker?
Yeah. That was Decker. If you've ever been in a bass fishing tournament and you're with your partner and you're like, man, get the net, we got our kicker fish, and it's a catfish, it's kind of a heartbreaker. But whenever it's a lake record, you're like, you know what?
Not just any lake record, crushed that damn thing by 4.5 pounds.
Hey,
wait, was it actually a lake record?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Did
you call Texas Parks and Wildlife?
So
we tried, but they didn't answer the phone, so we gave it to a feller at the boat ramp.
And he took it home and ate it, or what?
Yeah, he said it's going to make a lot of fish nuggets.
Hey, that was really funny, though. It was like, we were like, oh, it's pretty big fish. And he was like, 17 inches. 27 inches.
No, he said 17 pounds.
Yeah.
It was only 11.
No, he said 17 inches.
Oh, he did?
What's the lake record? What was the lake record?
7.9 or something. But
dude, I can't believe you didn't get a hold of Texas Parks and Wildlife.
We took a video of it, the weight, and then we took a picture of the measurement of it. They don't accept videos.
I was gonna say you're throwing lead balls in there.
Yeah, right. And they do require somebody from Texas Parks and Wildlife you have to do it on a certified scale. For the record, Channel Cat, Lake Decker, Walter E. Long Lake, Josh Soroka, Lake Record. Period.
Allegedly.
Just check out the page, RCRL, you'll see it.
See, here's the sad, harsh reality truth to like Western game hunting. Is like, yeah, we want to do all these crazy hunts, but it takes so much dedication to get some of these tags. Like, for instance, like the sheep tags that I apply for, I put in for points every year on them. I know in my head, I've completely accepted it. I will not kill a desert bighorn or a Rocky Mountain bighorn until I'm like in my 40s. From 26 that I am now till 40 years, I'm going to do nothing but $8 to those states until I get those tags. Now, there's ways around that. I can always go to Mexico, pay $50,000, shoot a desert bighorn this year.
But
I would rather not. If I hit like 55 and I still ain't pulled that tag, we might be going to Mexico.
Hey, but let's be honest, though, is that the points you're applying for, the money you're paying,
it goes to a good cause.
What is it doing? Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully.
It'll pay off in the end.
Yeah. I mean, that's what.
But we're seeing Colorado wolves venture into Montana, and
dude, them 6 wolves they released are already dead, I bet you. No offense to any of the wolf lovers out there.
Well, I think that
cut me off right there. That's the last thing I got to say.
Conner, you've had a lot of good input, I'll tell you right now, but I think that we could take this a whole nother hour, but to wrap it up, Chase, thanks for finally coming on. Conner, thanks for the reappearance. Dakota usually asks this question. It's kind of his staple in this whole thing. Dakota's not here, by the way, if y'all haven't noticed. What we always like to ask with RCRL, Recasted Reloaded, is it breaks the surface level question of, or the answer of, I hunt, look at my deer, look at my fish, is what's your why when it comes to the outdoors? Why do you fish? Why do you hunt? Why do you do it?
Wasn't expecting that question. Go ahead, Conner.
Yeah, actually, you know what, Conner? We never asked you that question whenever you did yours. So, what's your why?
There's a lot of whys. I feel like one of the biggest whys is it seems like something I should do. Like, my great-grandpa did it, my grandpa did it, my dad did it, I do it. It's just like, we're wild people, I guess, and that's where I feel most at home, is in the wild.
It's a great answer. Chase, follow up with that.
I've Conner and I have talked, and we've talked after you got back from your Colorado trip, but like, I think that being out in nature completely reconnects you. To Conner's point, our ancestors did this, and I don't think a lot of people aren't granted this luxury of having this outlet, but it is easy to get into. You shouldn't be intimidated. And I think that, if for me, it's like I've talked about, is it's really just about the meat. I think filling a freezer is the most important thing for me. It's not about posting a picture and look at what I killed. Because at the end of the day, it tastes the same.
Younger ones taste better.
They do have some nice tenderloins.
Depends on the cook.
But yeah, I mean, for me, it really is just the meat. And,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get into this. I know now that we have 121 days because my pistol is supposed to be here on the 7th. So I'm counting down the days.
Nice. Well, I mean, both great answers. There's no wrong answer to that. It's just a lot of people don't ask that question. And you really get to think about it, and you get to reminisce on the fact that we get to do what we love to do, and we were introduced to it at, for me, not a super young age, but a younger age, and it's changed my life, and a lot of people out there should get the opportunity and attempt to reconnect themselves in the outdoors in any way they can. Great pod, guys. I think that we covered a lot of different stuff, and there could be a whole nother episode on us talking, especially with a bottle of whiskey in front of us. Shout out Alvini, Caribbean Cask, 14, and a Soroka.
It's a nice bottle of whiskey.
Nice bottle of whiskey.
Does it say 14 years on
Hey,
it?
for real though, can we go turkey hunting?
Yes.
Great spoon.
Good job, y'all.
No, like
Legit, we can